Well, good morning, everyone. You all look far too serious. That's it. That's better now. This is a celebratory occasion, so we can't be looking serious as we go through all of this. I want to start off by saying that over 1,000 of you present this morning at this ceremony will shortly become citizens of our state. I want to warmly welcome you and your guests on what I know is a special and historic moment in your life and in the life of your family. It's a great privilege for me to be part of your special day and to participate in this most solemn and celebratory event in which Irish citizenship will be formally conferred on you. Many of you have travelled a long road to get to this point in your life. Some of you here have travelled a great distance to settle and reside in our country. We have today becoming Irish citizens, men and women originating from 120 nations across the globe, from states whose names commence with almost every letter of the alphabet, from Australia to Zimbabwe. Some of you come from troubled parts of the world, from states currently experiencing major difficulties and turmoil, such as Syria, Egypt, Iraq, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Somalia, and South Sudan. Others come from states in which regions are experiencing some level of conflict, and others from states, happily, in which no such issues or difficulties arise. Many of you come from democratic nations, and others from nations that have not truly experienced democracy for any extended length of time. And 140 of those who become new Irish citizens today are men and women to whom our state has granted political asylum. So without doubt, some of you travelled a long and arduous road with many twists and turns before arriving at this day. But today, you have all reached your destination, Irish citizenship. Whilst your presence at this ceremony this morning marks the end of the citizenship process in which you've been engaged, you're also at the beginning of a new and important journey, a new phase of your life as our newest Irish citizens. My earnest wish for each and every one of you here today as you embark on this new phase is that it will be a journey full of hope, full of optimism and fulfilment, with a bright new future as members of the great Irish global family. Your decision to apply for Irish citizenship is, as I have said, a major event in your life. It's also a major event for us as the host nation in bestowing this honour on you. As Minister for Justice and Equality, I have the responsibility and duty on behalf of the Irish nation to ensure that a grant of citizenship is given in accordance with the laws of our country. This is a duty I take very seriously, and no decision to grant or indeed to refuse citizenship is ever taken lightly. The dignity and solemnity of today's ceremony is, I believe, greatly enhanced by the presence of Judge Brian McMahon, a retired judge of the High Court, who will perform the role of presiding officer. Brian will administer the declaration of fidelity to the Irish nation and loyalty to the state. This, of course, is the final element of the application process, and without it, you cannot become an Irish citizen. And I'd ask you to give Brian a very warm welcome. The Army Band, under the command of Captain Fergal Carroll, is providing the music for today, and you've already been listening to them. Their presence adds immeasurably to the occasion. They're extraordinary, talented musicians, and I'd ask you to give them a round of applause. We also have the presence of the Colour Party under the command of Captain Thomas Nally, and their presence underlines the solemnity and importance of the ceremony. I thank them and the Army Band for their presence and participation, and I'd ask you to give a round of applause to our Colour Party. The staff of the Department of Justice and Equality, particularly those in our citizenship section in Tipperary, also deserve our thanks and my thanks for the extraordinary work they do in now so efficiently processing your applications and helping to make today's events run smoothly. Many of them are here with us this morning, and I'd ask you to acknowledge their presence also by your applause. Since my appointment as Minister in March 2011, I've implemented a major reform agenda in the citizenship area. I'm now looking at legislative changes that may be required to ensure their continuance into the future, and to see what more can be done so that we have the best possible legal provisions in this important area. Shortly following the government's taking office almost 2.5 years ago, I took steps to devise and introduce the state's first ever citizenship ceremony to mark, in a formal way, the grant of citizenship. That first ceremony took place on the 24th of June 2011. On that day, 73 new citizens were welcomed to our national family. Over the course of 4 ceremonies that are taking place in this convention centre today, 1,816 men and 2,288 women, a total of 4,104 in total, will become our newest citizens and become part of our national family. It's a huge leap from 73 becoming part of the national family in a single citizenship ceremony, and over 4,000 people in one day doing so. And it shows the extent to which we have changed and implemented a reform proposal that's in the public interest and that is very much in the interests of all of you here and of your family. All of you here today, together with all those who've received their grant of citizenship, in 73 ceremonies like this one since June 2011, I believe deserve a heartfelt round of applause. And I'd ask you to now applaud yourselves, and if your guests applaud you for your presence here today. As I know you're aware, when this government took office, the processing time for citizenship applications in all cases was well over 2 years, many cases 3 to 4 years. There was an enormous backlog of 22,000 applications in March 2011. Today, almost 2.5 years on, the situation has dramatically changed. Over 70% of applications are being processed within the 6-month target, at a time when the number of new applications is now close to record levels. It will always be the case that some applications take longer because they have complexities of relevance uniquely to them. But the delays experienced prior to 2011 are no longer a feature of our citizenship process. Today's ceremonies, along with those that have taken place since June 2011, have been critical to this truly remarkable turnaround. In that period, some 52,000 persons from every continent, every region, and a total of 170 countries have become new citizens of Ireland. This is without parallel in our history. It's truly remarkable that this tiny island at the edge of Western Europe, facing into the Atlantic Ocean, which is home to us all, has as its citizens, as members of our national family, people who came to live with us from every corner on this planet. I think that also deserves a very loud cheer and a round of applause. I know you are all proud of your new Certificate of Naturalisation, which is now printed in English as well as in our national Irish language. The certificate is an important legal document. It's the formal evidence of your acquiring Irish citizenship. I have no doubt you will cherish and keep it carefully to show to generations yet to come as a reminder of the day on which their mother or father or grandparent or great-grandparent became an Irish citizen. It's indeed a privilege for me, as I said earlier, to be here today and to be part of that narrative of your family and your kin. Today, we as the host nation, or perhaps as the people who got here a little bit before you arrived, are acknowledging in a most public way your presence here, your successful negotiation of the due process of naturalisation, and our best wishes for your future. As you leave here today as proud new citizens of this republic and constitutional democracy, our history is your history, and in turn, the narrative of your life has now become part of our history. Becoming a citizen of Ireland means much more than having an Irish passport or being able to vote. These, of course, are very important, but at a much deeper level, you are affirming your commitment to the values we cherish most and which are rooted in our history. In doing so, you are also affirming your support for our sense of mutual responsibility to one another as citizens of this country. As Irish citizens, we are united in upholding the principle of the democracy we cherish. Today, in becoming Irish citizens, you are joining a state which provides constitutional and general law protections against all types of discrimination, where men and women are equal, and where that equality is protected by our laws. A state which understands, values and respects diversity, inclusion and tolerance. A state where people's sexual orientation and preferences are respected. A state where all people who live within our laws are entitled to the protection of those laws. A state where political freedom is an inalienable right and where political disagreements are resolved at the ballot box. And finally, a state which both respects and upholds personal and human rights and expects other states across the globe to also do so. These are things of great and enormous importance. The declaration and oath you're about to make are serious and solemn pledges. It is the duty of all citizens to uphold them. On behalf of the Irish people, we ask that you do your utmost to honour these pledges to our nation, to its values, and to your fellow citizens as you go forward from here today as our newest citizens. Finally, I want to congratulate you one and all on becoming our newest Irish citizens and to say to you, we welcome you to our national family. I now formally introduce Judge Brian McMahon and ask Brian to administer the declaration in which you publicly declare your fidelity to our nation and loyalty to our state, as well as undertaking to faithfully observe the laws of the state and to, importantly, respect its democratic values. Thank you very much.
Fáilte Rómh go léir. I don't know why you're clapping, you don't know what it means. But those of you who choose to clap were right. It just means in our first language, you're all very welcome here today. I know it may be a strange language to many of you, but as the years pass and as your children engage with our educational system, as they go to school, and as they bring their school books home, and at the kitchen table they ask their father or their mother to help them with their exercises, you have a great opportunity of learning the first Irish language from them. So embrace it, even in the small ways. Congratulations to you all on attaining Irish citizenship today. it is indeed a singular honour to preside over this ceremony on behalf of the state. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the Minister for addressing the backlog that had arisen in the application process and for achieving such an improvement in that regard in such a short time, so that the ambition is that in future no one will have to wait more than 6 months for a decision. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the Minister also for making this ceremony such an uplifting experience for all of you who participate. Taking citizenship in another country is an important decision for the state and for the applicant. And it is only proper that this decision should be recognised with an appropriate degree of pomp and ceremony. You will agree that the surroundings of the convention centre are impressive, and that the No. 1 Army Band and the trooping of the colours add admirably to the occasion. In a few moments, I will invite you to make your declaration of fidelity to the nation and loyalty to the state, and to give an undertaking to faithfully observe the laws of the state and to respect its democratic values. This represents your commitment to uphold and respect the rights, freedoms, and equality enjoyed by the citizens of the nation, and to champion the principles of tolerance and respect for other people's beliefs and viewpoints, principles that many men and women have fought and died for. As an Irish citizen, you will have duties, not just to respect the laws and democratic values of the state, but also, and significantly also, to be an active participant in your own community and to be a good citizen. You can participate in many ways, and any contribution you make will help to enrich us all and to make your own communities and this country a better place to live for us and for our descendants. When the state honours you today by granting you citizenship, it does not require that you forget the country you come from. It does not ask you to erase your memories or your personal and unique history. When you make your declaration of fidelity to the state in a moment, do not forget your own country, your own people, your own traditions. Such memories are not contraband in this country. Bring with you your music, your own stories. Someday your children and your children's children will ask you about their grandparents and about the old country. Do not deny them their legacy. It is your duty and your responsibility to remind them of that part of their story that is to be found in another land. Those of you who come from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and perhaps other countries, bring with you your wickets and your cricket bats. We have some way to go in that respect in this country. Those of you from New Zealand and South Africa and other countries perhaps too can perhaps think of strengthening our rugby squad. I used to include Australia in that, but we beat Australia some years ago and they have to earn that right again. I'm sure they won't be slow about doing that. In any event, I know full well that the Aussies can contribute in many other ways to any society they chose to enhance. Those of you from Brazil, Argentina, and the other South American countries may be able to instruct us as to how we can improve our soccer skills. Each country, and those of you from other countries, will have something to contribute to the new state. Last summer, we watched with great admiration as the greatest athletes in the world performed in the Olympic Games in London. We watched in wonder and awe as the magnificent long-distance runners from Kenya and Ethiopia and other African countries graced our television screens. Would it not be wonderful if some of those genes made their way into the Irish athlete pool? There are many other examples I could take, but time does not permit me. And since this exercise began, citizenship has been conferred on people, as the Minister said, from all continents and virtually all countries all over the world. I look forward to the day when one of your children or one of your children's children will lead an All-Ireland football or hurling team on All-Ireland final day onto the pitch in Croke Park. We are now in the high season of hurling and football in this country, as many of you will have observed, this strange game with sticks, the hurling. And I'm sure that your children, when they go to school and when they're in their local communities, will be invited to join those Gaelic clubs and other sporting organisations. Encourage them to do so. They have much to offer, and hopefully we will have one day see one of your children or one of your children's children carry the Irish flag at the head of the Irish delegation at the opening of an Olympic ceremony. I have taken these examples from the field of sports and athletics. I could have easily taken my example from the world of literature, art, or music. Those of you who find interest and excitement in those pursuits, please bring with you your talents in that regard. We have long since, as a country, been inspired by Russian literature, for example. It is said that the Irish short story came out of Gogol's Overcoat. Perhaps we could also learn ballet from the Russians. Maybe the Nigerians or the Congolese can teach us something about communal singing. I will never forget the first time I heard Missa Luba sung in the Congolese traditional manner. What would we do without the caring nature of the many Filipinos who feature so prominently throughout our health system? So gently accept yourself in your new communities, and you will be surprised what welcome you will find there. We are a nation of immigrants. We understand emigration, and now more than ever, we have sons and daughters who recently had to emigrate and are living abroad. But with your help and our own endeavours, we will rebuild our country and our economy, and with your help, we will welcome them back in the not-too-distant future. My parents and my grandparents, back along the generations, were born in this country and for the most part were fortunate to have lived in this country for centuries. But after this ceremony, I will have no greater rights, legal rights, under the Constitution in this country than you have. Under the Constitution, all citizens are equal. The new are equal to the old. We have no second class or half citizens. as well as I, as the Minister said, are entitled to the full protection of the constitutional guarantees. I now ask all citizens, or all candidates for citizenship, to stand for the declaration. We will recite one line at a time. This is your first test, and the only test, for admission to the citizenship pool of Ireland. You must get it right. You must all say it together. It's a real choral exercise. You have been given literature in your pack, the declaration and the wording. And I am going to be the conductor. Think of me as the conductor. And the first word I will say is I, and then you will say your own name. Not your brother's name, or your sister's name, or your neighbour's name, your name. And then I will say the word of, and then you will say your address, not your brother's address, not where you spent last night, not where you're going to spend tonight celebrating, your residence in this country. And then after that, we will all be saying the same thing. Have we got it? Yeah. All right, let's hear you. I. It's a long name there. Of.
Oh, flat 6, 24, that's mine, Dublin 6.
Having applied to the Minister for Justice and Equality.
Having applied to the Minister of Justice and Equality.
For a certificate of naturalization.
A certificate of naturalization.
Hereby solemnly declare.
Hereby solemnly declare.
My fidelity to the Irish nation.
My fidelity to the Irish nation.
And my loyalty to the state.
And my loyalty to the state.
I undertake to faithfully observe.
I undertake to faithfully observe.
The laws of the state.
The laws of the state.
And to respect its democratic values.
And to respect its democratic values.
Cóchardachas. That means in Irish, congratulations, and you can tell your children that. You may now sit down, and I will now call upon the Minister to bring these happy proceedings to an end. Thank you.
Well, all of those who are standing up, I want to now congratulate you as officially having become Irish citizens. When you walked into this very impressive theatre in the last hour or so, you came from 120 different nations. We had people sitting in this room who were citizens from 120 different countries. Well, if you now look around you, you're all citizens from the one country. Now, I think this is all far too easy, so I'm going to ask everyone who took the oath to stand up again. Now, for each of you standing, beside you and behind you, and possibly in front of you, depending on where you're standing, you have a newly created Irish citizen. I think you should congratulate them.
Congratulations.
And when you've done that, I'm going to invite everyone to sit down. The people who are hugging and kissing in the back of the hall, I want to just make sure I don't get into too much trouble for encouraging people to perhaps do things that they prefer to do elsewhere. No. Please sit down again. Please sit down again. I hope that today proves to be truly memorable for all of you. Isn't Judge Brian McMahon fantastic?
Yes.
I'm in the fortunate position where I'm a Minister for Justice and Equality, which means that within my political responsibilities come on Garda Síochána, our police force. But I'm also Minister for Defence. So also under my political responsibilities come our defence forces, which are the Army, the Navy and the Air Corps. And Brian, in his address to you, expressed some hopes as to what you or your children may do in the future or may contribute to our sporting or cultural life. Could I say to each of you here, if not yourselves, I hope certainly your children will in some future years be proud members of either An Garda Síochána or our defence forces. We have representatives of the Army here today, in the Colour Party and the Army Band. And you should all be proud of what is now your army. They do extraordinary work on UN peacekeeping missions right across the globe, putting themselves in harm's way to try and protect the life of others. They are brave men and women. And it's right that I, as Minister, acknowledge that, and I hope that, as I said, some of your family members in the future will join our defence forces and very much become part of their work and what they do. Also within my political area of responsibility, we have the Garda Reserve, which is a volunteer group of people. There's now in the region of 1,300 members of the Garda Reserve who are trained in Templemore, and they assist the Gardaí in community policing and in other activities. And we have representatives now on the Garda Reserve from not just those originally born in Ireland, but from many of our new citizens and those who are taking up residence in Ireland from different countries across the world. We also have our Reserve Defence Force, and I'd encourage some of you here to show interest in joining either the Garda Reserve or the Reserve Defence Force at some time in the future. It provides very interesting involvement and engagement and affords you an opportunity to positively contribute